Hagie Manufacturing Company is a well-known name in the ag industry. From the introduction of the world's first self-propelled sprayer in 1947, Hagie Manufacturing has been at the forefront of the sprayer industry. The first to offer front-wheel assist, four-wheel drive, twin tanks, hydrostatic drive, front-mounted booms, and many, many other innovations. But what's not well known is the history behind the family-owned business. For the next few minutes, we invite you to learn about Hagie Manufacturing Company, who we are, where we've come from, and what we've accomplished in the past 60 years. The story of Hagie Manufacturing Company starts with its founder, R.W. Hagie, known by his friends as Ray. Ray was born February 1st, 1910. Growing up, he worked on the family farm while going to school, and was active in sports like football, wrestling, and track. In 1927, Ray Hagie was a student at Iowa State College, studying animal husbandry. It was during his enrollment that Ray learned of a new method of growing seed corn called crossbreeding. Ray was intrigued with the process. Upon returning home after graduation, he began growing and crossbreeding corn on his own farm, first for himself, then for his neighbors. In 1933, his business had grown, and he opened Hagie Hybrids, one of the earliest hybrid seed corn companies. The seed corn company grew, and the plant in Clarion was expanded. But in 1942, the business and the nation had a great setback.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
The nation was attacked, and we were thrust into World War II. Because of the war, Hagie Hybrids, just like the rest of the nation, was required to find a new source for much of its workforce. Women and children came forward to fill the voids left behind by the soldiers fighting around the globe. One of the more difficult jobs for the new workforce to adapt to was the manual detasseling of seed corn. The women and children were shorter than the men who traditionally did the job. Reaching and pulling the tassels was hard to do and would cause the workers to fatigue quickly. Ray saw this problem and began developing a solution. Ray began to develop a machine to carry the workers through the field, bringing them up to the level of the tassels, making it easier to pull. The three-wheeled machine would carry 6 workers and 1 driver through the field. It wasn't long before other seed companies learned about the machine and wanted to purchase them. The Hagie High Tractor was born. In 1946, Hagie's began selling the 6-person personnel carrier. Ray, always the visionary, looked for other uses for the personnel carrier. It was about that time the Dow Chemical Company developed 2,4-Dow, now referred to as 2,4-D. The chemical could be used on corn to control broadleaf weeds. Spraying early in the season was easy, but some weeds would sprout and grow after the chemical could be applied. The result was the world's first self-propelled high-clearance sprayer, developed in 1947. It was the first of many innovative and revolutionary products or features Hagie has introduced to the sprayer industry. By 1948, the sprayer and personnel carrier business was getting to be such a large portion of the business that it was necessary to form Hagie Manufacturing Company. By the mid-50s, Hagie's was building 3 different sprayer models, the CA, CB, and CBK, with capacities ranging from 100 to 185 gallons. In 1955, Hagie became international when they began selling sprayers and detasselers around the world. That year, they shipped machines to Ontario, Canada, Managua, Nicaragua, and Amico, Peru. By the end of the 50s, the 3-wheel design was being reviewed. It was simple, but unstable. Development of a 4-wheeled sprayer was started, and an experimental unit began testing in 1959. In 1960, the Model 430 was released with a 200-gallon solution tank and 24-foot booms, with extensions to 30 feet. It was also the first sprayer to offer Hagie's now famous front-mounted booms. In the 1960s, Hagie Manufacturing Company continued to grow, and advancements to the sprayers continued. By the end of the decade, Hagie Manufacturing Company was ready to make the next revolutionary introduction. In 1968, Hagie Manufacturing introduced the Model 440 high tractor. The 440 was the first hydrostatically driven sprayer, eliminating the mechanical drive systems which utilized chains and transmissions. The 440 was also equipped with the new HydroHug suspension system. The front telescopic legs were connected by hydraulic lines, allowing one leg to rise while the other lowered, keeping the machine level and maintaining boom height. It was also the first twin-tank sprayer and the first sprayer offered with a factory-installed cab. The 1970s started out where the 60s ended. Detasselers saw an increased resurgence in testing and prototyping. In the early 70s, 4 different detasselers were available. The 120 personnel carrier took technology introduced with the 440 sprayer into the detasseler industry, hydrostatic drive. The 3-wheel detasseler was available in a 4, 6, or 8-row option. The 437 detasseler was available in 3 configurations: a 12-row personnel carrier, a spray roller used on Texas sterile seed corn, or a cutter driven electrically. The 640 sprayer, released in 1973, utilized a 50-foot boom and twin stainless steel tanks with an optional belly tank, making the total capacity 860 gallons. It was the first high-capacity unit offered by Hagie, and the first to offer air conditioning. Also in 1973, the 437 HD detasseler was introduced. Another first. The 437 HD used hydraulic motors to drive the 6 cutter heads used to detassel. Hagie Manufacturing saw a new style in their sprayer designs during the 80s, releasing the 8400 in 1980 and 4 additional models in the next 5 years. Many of these models were developed to be affordable to combat the economic crisis affecting the agricultural industry. In the 1990s, Hagie Manufacturing continued to develop sprayers to meet the demands of their customers, both farmer and custom applicator. As the number of acres covered increased, Hagie increased the capacity and horsepower. The Model 250 and 280 were the answers. With capacities of 500 and 800 gallons, both machines had selectable 2-wheel or 4-wheel drive. In 1994, the 284 continued the machine growth, with a boom width up to 90 feet. In 1998, as Hagie Manufacturing turned 50 years old, they introduced the next innovation to the industry, the 2100. With a new, larger cab, 1,000-gallon capacity, and new independent air ride suspension, the 2100 was the new gem in the Hagie lineup. As the new millennium was ushered in, Hagie Manufacturing was celebrating the release of their 1,200-gallon STS-12. the first single-tank sprayer built by Hagie's in nearly 20 years, sporting a new patented steering and suspension system, and the industry's only boom capable of spraying at 60, 80, or 90 feet without changing components. 5 years later, the sprayer industry was stunned yet again when they released the STS-16, the world's largest row crop sprayer. Over the past 60 years, Hagie Manufacturing has become known for their ability to adapt, modify, and diversify. Most of these are not well known. In 1957, Hagie Manufacturing built 2 different pull-type sprayers. In 1958, they began building the Husking husking bed. By 1959, there were 7 different attachments for the Hagie High tractor: a spray boom, a spot spraying basket, a granular applicator, a duster, a broadcast seeder, a topper, and a defoliator. In 1961, they began building the Detecto Company Gas Hound mobile gas leak detector. In 1970, the tree tractor was produced specifically for spraying and pruning Christmas trees. In 1990, they purchased the Dodgen Feed Body Company. In 1995, they purchased the Palco Company, renamed Stronghold, makers of livestock handling equipment. Hagie Manufacturing also built a precision planter and a plot planter used in the seed corn industry. Built Body Success exercise equipment. Owned and operated Sports Graphics, makers of graphic wall pads for gymnasiums. Built the American Eagle weld jig positioning units. Built the Safety Heat Furnace, a hydraulically heated furnace. Manufactured the Tidybug, Sanitarier, Tidybug 2, and Collecto Cub sanitation collection units. One modification that has been very well received is the X series of sprayers. Standing for extra tall, the 8400X was the first in a line of high-clearance machines developed for a specialty market. Listening to customer needs and making a product that fulfills them has made Hagie the leader in vegetable sprayers in Mexico. The most recent modification resulted in the GST-20. Designed specifically for airport applications, the GST-20 is the first year-round multi-purpose vehicle for that industry, capable of moving snow, de-icing runways, spraying herbicides and insecticides, and mowing around airports. Hagie Manufacturing Company will continue to be the industry innovator, just as it has for the first 60 years. The philosophies that are used to continue that tradition are in every Hagie employee. And passed down to each generation of the Hagie family.
What makes a sprayer work? The booms, of course. How proud are we of our booms? So proud that we put them up front, where everyone can see them, even the operator. Whether it's the industry's only 60, 80, 90 boom, our 60, 100 boom, or our 90, 120 boom, there are a few features that make them the best. Have you ever shut a boom section off for any reason and forgot to turn it back on? It won't happen with Hagie. Not only is the boom right out in front of you where you can see it, but we also put boom section indicator lights right in front of you. The light will indicate if a boom section is off and remind you to turn it back on. How many nozzle bodies have you broken off when the boom hits a tree, fence, or the ground? Hagie designs their boom to protect the nozzle bodies from impacts, saving you time and money. Compare boom breakaways. Most booms will use a spring, a gas shock, a cable, or a chain in their design. The Hagie design uses a hydraulic cylinder, making it more simple. The hydraulic cylinder puts down pressure on the boom tip and then releases instantly on impact. It also doesn't slam back down when it resets. The hydraulics allow the boom to settle down more gently, reducing the stress on the rest of the boom. Hagie is committed to design sprayers that will give you the most accurate application. One part is making sure that you spray where you want. The second part is spraying correctly. You can't spray accurately if you don't spray at the correct height. The boom up front allows you to maintain the correct height. The boom travel is the other part of the equation. Most spray tips are designed to spray at heights 20 inches above the target. But some spray booms will only lower to 30 inches above the ground, making pre-emergence applications inaccurate. Hagie booms lower to only 17 inches off the ground, but also rise to over 100 inches, allowing full season applications. Protected nozzle bodies, hydraulic boom breakaways, and full season boom height are just some of the features Hagie's offer. Add into that automatic boom height control, automatic boom section control, left and right fence row nozzles standard, 2 foamer options, and you'll see why Hagie booms are the best. How smooth are your fields? At 4 or 5 miles an hour, they may seem fairly smooth, but at 10 miles an hour or more, you may not think so. You've got to get your acres covered when the weather is right, and you never know how long that'll be. Getting bounced around is no fun, but it's more than just uncomfortable. Rough ground is detrimental to the life of your sprayer. Hagie has a perfect solution. Our patented steering and suspension system gives the best ride in the industry. While others try to use steel springs or hydraulics in their suspension, our air ride suspension provides 8 inches of suspension travel at each leg and absorbs the bumps and dips, extending the life of your sprayer. The suspension automatically adjusts to the weight of the sprayer, so regardless if the tank is full or empty, you'll have the same ride. Smoother ride, longer sprayer life. 2 more ways Hagie is building the best. Compaction. Is it important to you? It should be. In a report from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln Extension, it says, compaction can increase runoff and erosion, resulting in more sediment in our streams, lakes, and drainage ditches. Moving into these waterways with the soil will be nitrates, phosphorus, and other agricultural chemicals that lower our water quality. Compaction can influence all stages of crop growth. Planting into compacted soils may decrease stand emergence, which will affect yield potential. Root growth may be limited to the soil zone above the compacted layer. Water and nutrient uptake may be decreased and can result in nutrient deficiency and moisture stress. A Hagie sprayer won't prevent ground compaction, but it will help reduce it. The design of a Hagie sprayer reduces the amount of compaction to the soil. It starts with the machine balance. Spreading the weight across all 4 wheels will reduce the compaction. There is less than 5% difference weight on any one wheel. Some competitive machines have as much as 70% of the machine's weight on just 2 wheels. Hagie sprayers are also lighter than others. That doesn't mean they aren't built as strong. The even weight allows them to spread the load out while maintaining strength. A lighter machine means the weight to the ground is reduced. Together, Hagie sprayers have less ground compaction than smaller competitive machines. Lower ground compaction than their competition? Another way Hagie is providing you the best. Who makes the best tractor cab? How about the best combine cab? What about the best sprayer cab? Before you answer, keep this in mind. Most companies will use a combine or a tractor cab on their self-propelled sprayers. And if they don't use the entire cab, they may use components like a steering column or side console. Hagie builds their spray cabs from the ground up, specifically for their sprayers. We know that a self-propelled sprayer is completely different from any other piece of equipment. It takes a different air conditioning system, has different controls, a different layout, and room for different technology options. Hagie designs their cabs to have great visibility with limited obstructions, controls where you need them, and room to add the technology options you want. So when you're thinking about who makes the best sprayer cabs, you should be thinking about Hagie. When do you make your spray applications? Pre-plant? Pre-emergence? Early post-emergence? Mid-season? Are you sure? Would you spray more if you could? What if you could have a sprayer that could spray when you needed it to, that doesn't cost any more than any other self-propelled sprayer? Hagie sprayers are designed to make every spray application the competition can, and many they can't. With better than 73 inches of clearance, Hagie sprayers can go into fields others can't without causing crop damage. There's more than the underframe clearance to worry about too. There's the clearance between the wheel package and the crop. Hagie thought about that too. With the narrowest wheel package at just over 19 inches wide, you can drive through fields without crop loss. Clearance to the frame and clearance through the crop. Two more ways Hagie is building the best. Often, spray applications require you to go into fields in less than ideal field conditions. It is in those situations when you really need the power. But you just can't compare horsepower to horsepower. You need to look at the whole picture. Machines with equal horsepower won't perform the same if they have different weights. All four Hagie STS models have the highest horsepower to weight ratio in their capacities, and they do it with the same amount of horsepower as their competition, or in some cases less. What does that mean to you? Horsepower takes fuel. More horsepower, more fuel. Best performance in the field with less horsepower and less fuel, more ways Hagie is building the best. When you're trying to get the most out of your tractor in the field, you'll add weight to get the right weight balance, to minimize wheel slip. So why is it that so many throw that out the window when they look at a sprayer? An unbalanced sprayer will not perform well in the field. It will have more compaction, require more horsepower, and is much more likely to be stuck. Hagie designs their machines with the booms in front and the engines in the rear. And then they put the tank smack dab in the middle of the machine. That means regardless of how much product is in the tank, the machine remains balanced. That balanced design gives you better performance in the field. With even pressure at each wheel, there is less rolling resistance and less ground compaction. More reason to prove Hagie is building the best. There's more than one way to look at service when you talk about self-propelled sprayers. One way is daily maintenance. How easily can you access or do daily maintenance? checking the oil, changing the oil, access to the air filter, filling it with fuel, bleeding the air system, cleaning the radiator. Hagie has all that covered. All the daily service and maintenance checks can be done simply and easily by looking at a gauge, by opening a door, or by opening the hood. We've even added an engine service platform, making access to the side of the engine that much easier. There's also service for repair. We've got that too. It comes to you when you need it. Our network of service personnel are located to provide a quick response to your problems. They don't work 8 to 5 either. If you need them after hours, we're there for you. Here's something else you won't get from the other companies. Weekdays, after hours, weekends, it doesn't matter. We won't charge you extra for labor just because you have a problem after banker's hours. Easy daily service and quick repair service that treats you right. More ways that Hagie is giving you the best.
Hagie Manufacturing Company has been committed to provide the best equipment for seed corn production longer than anyone else. And like the seed corn industry, we have deep roots. In the early 1930s, R.W. Hagie began his adventure in the seed corn industry when he founded one of the earliest hybrid seed corn companies, Hagie's Hybrids. He was committed to grow corn that was hardier, had better yields, and with more resistance. Then, World War II began. Hagie's Hybrids had a problem. The typical labor force was now fighting overseas. Women and children came to fill the voids, but their shorter height made the task of detasseling seed corn difficult. Hagie began to design a machine to help. By the end of the war, Hagie's personnel carrier was developed. Soon other seed companies were interested in the design, and in 1946, the Hagie all-weather detasseler was made available for sale. During the 1950s, Hagie's continued to develop equipment for the seed corn industry. Even as the use of male sterile seed parents gained in popularity, Hagie Manufacturing continued to refine their designs with the development of a sickle and rotary topper. The commitment paid off in the 1970s when southern corn leaf blight caused a resurgence in corn detasseling. In 1971, using a four-wheel capable sprayer chassis, Hagie's developed a mechanical detasseler that used an electric cutter head. Shortly after, the cutter heads were designed to run on hydraulic power, a standard in the industry still today. Hagie also developed a three-wheel hydrostatically driven personnel carrier capable of carrying 4, 6, or 8 people. 1973 saw the release of Hagie's first hydrostatically driven detasseler. 1974 saw the release of the V-tire puller. 1977, the Hagie roller puller was released. In 1978, Hagie's were the first to have auto height control on their detasseling heads, called tassel troll. In 1982, Hagie's released the 8200, with the first 120-inch tread width for increased stability. It also moved the engine and drivetrain above the crop, making a clean, narrow leg design the only thing in the row. 1989 saw the release of the 200. With Hydra-Hug suspension, the 200 was also available with quad-puller heads and the new Tassel Troll LS system. 1994, the 204 was released with a larger operator station, a tilt steering column, and several upgrades were made to the Tassel Troll LS system. Hagie also offered the 284 and 2100 sprayers as combination sprayer detasseler machines, allowing owners to utilize their equipment dollar more effectively. In 2000, the 204 SP was introduced. Adding to the already industry-leading design, an air ride suspension was added to increase operator comfort. The STS sprayer was also released as a combo machine. Hagie Manufacturing Company continued